This is General Miguna from Forced Exile in Toronto, Canada. Today's address is to Despot Uhuru Kenyatta, Fred Matiang'i, Mutahi Kagwe, Raila Odinga, Colonel Rasanga, the governor of Siaya, and James Orengo. Good morning, good evening, good night to you. The world watched in shock and astonishment at the manner in which helpless children, women, and men were subjected to abuse, brutality, and battery at the Kibra Chiefs Camp or DC's camp as they struggled to get to expired food, which was donated by CDF but purportedly given to them by Raila Odinga. A simple exercise that should have lasted for exactly 2 hours, should have been orderly, and should have not involved the kind of violence that we saw, led to 2 deaths. 2 innocent women were trampled to death in Kibra 2 days ago. I say, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, Raila Odinga, shame on you, Uhuru Kenyatta, shame on you, Mutahi Kagwe, shame on you, Fred Matiang'i, shame on you, James Orengo, shame on you, Colonel Rasanga, shame on you. It did not have to happen. In Rwanda, Kagame Paul is distributing food door to door. Food that was donated to him by WHO and the Chinese billionaire Jack Ma. In Kenya, you have not distributed any food to the citizens. The face masks that Jack Ma donated to you, you are selling at 10,000 apiece. You have not distributed any face masks. The 11 billion that you purportedly borrowed from the World Bank has disappeared, just like all the other trillions that you have stolen. The 7 billion that Despot Uhuru Kenyatta announced he had allocated from the treasury for purposes of combating COVID-19 have also vanished. Where have you taken our money? Why did you have to subject innocent Kenyans to such brutality? Even the illiterate criminal Sonko distributed food without incident. The MP for Langata, Korir, distributed food without incident. When some so-called leaders from Rift Valley tried to distribute food in Eldoret, you stopped them with the police, armed goons. Why did you allow mostly Luos to die in Kibra? Does it mean that Luo life means nothing? It's like a dog's life. Shame on you, Raila Odinga. Shame on your betrayal. Shame on your handshake. Shame on your so-called BBI with Uhuru Kenyatta. A selfish, parochial power grab that was schemed by Uhuru Kenyatta and roped you in after bribing you with 50 billion shillings of our money. I say 50 billion. I know there is some Kikuyu chauvinist, whom I do not want to name, who claimed that you were bought by 1.5 billion so that he could satisfy his chauvinistic head by claiming that Luos are cheap. Raila Odinga does not represent all Luos. Raila Odinga is an individual. When Raila Odinga is bribed, or James Orengo is bribed, or Colonel Rasanga is exhibiting his primitivity and brutality, they are doing it as individuals, just like all other Kenyans. Luos are not slaves. There is no slave market in Kenya, in Nyanza or anywhere else. There is no chattel slave in Kenya. Luos are not for sale. They are not supposed to be sold, and they will not be sold. Then today, which is April the 12th, we watched in utter shock when Oyugi, who worked with Kenya Ports Authority in Mombasa, was treated like a wild dog, thrown into a pit without any dignity, without any coffin, at night, and dumped like a beast. It is completely disgusting, unacceptable, inhumane, and must be condemned unreservedly. Shame on you, Raila Odinga. Shame on you, Cornel Rasanga. Shame on you, James Orengo, for allowing that to happen. On April 4th, Captain Kibati, whom Uhuru Kenyatta sacrificed by sending him to fly KQ planes to Rome and New York at the height of the COVID-19 outbreak, was given a dignified burial in Kitui. He was buried like a human being. Why was Oyugi buried like a dog? Raila Odinga must answer us now. It is no longer time for debate. It is not an issue of discussion. We are not going to listen to some silly excuses given. We are not going to accept any justifications about COVID-19. Oyugi was involved in a motor vehicle accident at Awasi on his way to Siaya. He had a chest injury that made him cough. It was quickly determined by some inept county officers that he was suffering from coronavirus. Oyugi was never tested. If he was, we want to know where he was tested, when he was tested, the name of the doctor who tested him, the laboratory that did the test, when the results were announced, where he was treated, and the person who conducted the pathology and produced the results to determine that he died from coronavirus. Even if he did, coronavirus does not jump from a dead body into the mouths and noses of people, members of his family, or members of the clergy, or relatives and friends. He should have been given a decent, civilized, dignified burial. This is an abomination. This inhumanity is beyond human imagination. There is absolutely no way that we are going to keep quiet and watch and see Kenyans treated like wild animals, that the COVID-19 is going to be used as the justification for treating them like beasts. Orengo tried to give a justification by pointing out the example of New York, the people who have been buried in mass graves. Those people are homeless people that were not claimed by their relatives or family members or friends, so the state had nowhere to bury them. They covered them nicely, they treated their bodies with dignity, they put their bodies in coffins, and they buried them in proper places. There was no throwing people at night into pit latrines without coffins. It did not happen even in New York, where more than 10,000 people have died. So today, as the Kenya Revolutionary Front General, I declare war, open war, against despot Uhuru Kenyatta, Fred Matiang'i, Mutahi Kagwe, Karanja Kibichu, conman Raila Odinga, the lyrical sycophant in the Queen's Palace, not King's Palace, Queen's Palace, James Orengo, and the primitive barbarian Colonel Rasanga. Kenyans, you have the right to arrest these people whenever you see them. Organize so that we can conduct citizens' arrest on them. We will try them on a designated day at Uhuru Park, and you will proclaim the judgment that should be meted against them. Thank you.